Hello, everyone. It is a real honor and delight to speak to the graduating class of 2019 today. When I was graduating high school, I was in a very different place than I am today. Today, I am firmly ensconced in deep tech, machine learning, artificial intelligence. But at that time, my interest was more in literature. I had a special fondness for the Russian novelists, in political philosophy and the social contract between state and citizens, and art, especially the Surrealism movement. And in particular, I spent a lot of time in the domain of development economics and human rights. Growing up in Pakistan, that was a constant reminder to me that not everybody is as lucky as some of us. So I spent time in villages in Pakistan, giving microfinance credit to women who wanted to start businesses. And I also worked in jails in Pakistan for women who had been unjustly incarcerated because of corruption. And so that's how I started, and then how did I end up here? How did I end up from a very humanities background to one most people consider a very high-tech and engineering background in artificial intelligence? Well, what happened to me was that when I went to college, I encountered a group of Eastern Europeans. And they had come from Romania, Russia, Estonia, Bulgaria, and they had an approach to science and mathematics that was completely counter to what I had experienced growing up in Asia. For me, math was about doing my tests, getting the right answer. Science was about doing the experiments with predetermined results and getting them right in the laboratory. Biology was more about memorizing than anything else the different parts of the human body. But they did not look at it this way. They looked at math and science like poetry, as a journey of discovery. And they easily could seamlessly move between talking about Borges and his labyrinths and number theory and stochastic processes. Well, I was inspired. I realized that both humanities and the sciences, in fact, come from the same place: a great and deep curiosity of the unknown, a desire to creatively solve problems, and a deep empathy for the human condition and its curiosities, its angst, and also its desires. The lesson here for me, which I hope to impart to the graduating class, is please do not buy this fallacy that there is a distinction between the humanities and the sciences. Do not pigeonhole yourself into thinking one is more important than the other. In fact, in the world that we live in today, it has never been more important to know the basics of your mathematics, but also to study your sociology, to study your philosophy. When I actually then started looking at technology, I realized that in this new world that we're going in, there is now a new player as well. And this new player is the machine. Sometimes people call it artificial intelligence. Sometimes people call it robotics. What it is the power of computational thinking to change the work that you and I do, regardless of the industry we go in, regardless of whether you become a lawyer, an entertainer, an engineer, or a space astronaut. And technology does two things. First, it automates routine tasks. And before you think, that's for the worker in the remote factory working on the assembly line. No, it's for lawyers as well. It's for bankers as well. When you graduate from law school, you used to have to spend hours doing precedence research on case studies. Now, a machine can do that for you, leaving you to actually reach greater potential of solving cases. It also brings insights to you that you as a team of humans would be unable to do. Artificial intelligence can now detect breast cancer faster and more accurately than a group of human radiologists. Well, all this was fascinating to me. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I worked on Wall Street. And in all this process, I lost perspective. I lost the critical thinking skills that all of you have so fresh in your mind right now. I could only see the power, beauty, and potential of technology. And then I went to Europe. I decided to go back to school for my PhD. And in the UK and Germany, I met professors who called me out on my naivete. And they said, for every good there is in technology, there may also be some unintended consequences. And that is how we have come across the phenomenon of fake news. We are surrounded in filter bubbles on social media that are powered by algorithms that was not the intention of the men or women who created Facebook or Twitter, but now are permeating and infecting the views of people and disrupting political elections and causing chaos in the world. This is also important as you go into the world, that you are still guardians of your critical thinking, and that you actually always look at this world in terms of what works, what doesn't work, and now the third important column, what might be its unintended consequences. By the way, it's very difficult to do this if you don't know the basics of technology. So I encourage all of you to take that class in computer science, or at least audit it, but not at the expense of that class in philosophy, but to pursue this kind of multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach to life. Unless you empower yourself with these skills, you will lose confidence, because in this world that is now permeated by high-tech, high-speed disruption and innovation, you need to feel really confident. And right now, this is the perfect time, because you have come from the IB background and you are already in that mindset. What happened next for me was that after my PhD, after doing this course correction in my thinking, and after all, it is constantly a battle between us and our biases at some level, I came back to Asia. And now the world looked very different. Before, I had been one of the lucky ones to get a scholarship to Harvard, to have access to this elite group on Wall Street. But now, when I looked for a team for my company, I found people everywhere. People in the remote areas of Indonesia are some of the best UX designers that you'll ever find. My cybersecurity consultant lives in New Zealand. And some of my best data scientists are in Pakistan, in Malaysia, in Mexico, and the head of explainable AI is an Italian living in England. For sociology, I often turn to my friends in New York. I need a multidisciplinary team, a team of superheroes, all who have different skills, some in the humanities, some in the sciences, But now I am not limited to a small elite group, and neither are you. It has never been a better time to go into the world because your peers, people who are as smart, creative, out-of-the-box thinkers as you, are now everywhere. And they finally have access to education and the access to digital work that they didn't have before. The result? I have been more successful than before, not because of me, but because of this incredibly rich group of people. And it doesn't matter, you see, when everybody has access to education and work together, whether they came on a bicycle or on a BMW, whether it was a man or a woman, whether it was a young millennial or someone who's older. What matters is what they bring to the table. And so I think we are actually entering a new world which is more democratic, more optimistic, and capable of achieving a lot more, even as we face rising challenges ahead of us like climate change and the manipulation of high-tech technologies by malevolent characters. And what brings all these people together, all of my team together, this ever-expanding, dynamic team, some full-time, some free time, completely international, much like this wonderful group here, are three things. A commitment to ethics. We stand for certain values. Secondly, a genuine desire and curiosity to collaboratively solve problems. And ultimately, whether you are a novelist, a filmmaker, a baker, or a data scientist, it's all about creative problem solving. And the last thing is that it is a common mission. Because in all this, what I've realized is that to believe, to care, to pursue with conviction together, that's what strings together meaningful moments in one's life. And I'm really excited for your future today. I'm excited for my future because you are going to be the leaders in it. And I'm especially excited for you because the world offers a wealth of opportunity. You just need to empower yourself, and you also need to constantly not let yourself be pigeonholed in any deterministic way. Be open to whatever ideas you have out there, and you will see that with the right team, you can achieve anything that you want. Thank you.